spiritual splinters. So let's get into it. What is a spiritual splinter? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ty Marshall channel. This is your weekly one-drop stop for motivation, inspiration, real talk, just life chats, and just food for thought. Things make you go, Okay, so today, ladies and gentlemen, our Thai nugget is going to be avoiding spiritual splinters. Boy, what is a spiritual splinter? So think about it this way. When you're sitting on wood, rubbing wood, when you go against the grain, the natural flow of what the wood is, you are more than likely to get a splinter. Why? Because you are creating unnecessary friction because you're going against the grain. Your life is the same way. When you are out of God's will, when you're going against God's will, you can create spiritual splinters in your life. Spiritual splinters are not fun. They're very painful. They're very uncomfortable. And it's just a lot of unnecessary warfare that you don't want to have to deal with. When you're going against God's will, when you're going against your spirit, you're going against the natural current, you're going against the natural flow of your life, which means the natural grain of your life is going one way, but you're going in a different direction, which is going to cause friction, which is going to cause what I like to call them spiritual splinters. Why do I like to call them spiritual splinters? Because when you get a splinter for real, it's very difficult to get out. And it's normally tiny, you can hardly see it. So with that being said, it's the little decisions, the small decisions, the little things that you let go over a long period of time, that you ignore, that you allow to keep distracting you, that causes those tiny little problems that can culminate to a spiritual splinter later on. I don't know if you've ever tried to get a splinter out or not. Sometimes you can pull it right out with your hand, and sometimes you gotta get the tweezers, sometimes you gotta get somebody to help you, sometimes you gotta squeeze it's just too much work. And then sometimes it can get infected, then your fingers swollen. And it's the same way spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, creatively. When you get these spiritual splinters, they can cause so many unnecessary problems, all because of partial obedience or disobedience to God, what He's calling you to do, the direction that He's pulling you in, the natural flow and current of your life. You want to think longevity, not just momentary gratification. Longevity, not momentary gratification. With that being said, if you feel that the current has shifted or changed, then you need to go with the flow. And so I want to encourage you today to look at different areas of your life. And again, this looks different for everybody. It can be mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, economically, geographically. It's different for everybody, but I want you to look at different areas of your life and ask yourself, do I have any spiritual splinters, emotional splinters, intellectual splinters, creative splinters? Like, do I have any splinters in my life that are hindering me, that are stopping me, that have caused spiritual infections in certain parts of my life where I just can't move forward? I'm stagnant. These certain things are festering. You want to ask yourself that question, because when you don't pull the splinter out, sometimes it can get infected. Sometimes your body will naturally push it out, but then sometimes you get an infection. And the thing about grace is going to be different for every season. So you had an abundant amount of grace the last season. If you don't grown and you know a little better, you're probably not going to have the same dispensation of grace for this second season, because the more you know, the more you are accountable for, okay? So don't play with grace. Don't do it. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at your life. Are you going against the grain of life? Are you going against the current, the natural flow and progression of your life? Are you fighting yourself? Are you fighting God? Are you fighting purpose? Are you fighting with your creativity? Or are you just allowing everything in your life to just kind of flow? It should be an ebb and flow, meaning it's a lock and key. It's synchronized, it's aligned. And even when it gets rough, you're still gonna have grace, you're still gonna have peace to press through it. But there's a synchronicity, there's an alignment to it. You are in the current when you are in the flow of purpose and what God is calling you to do. All right? So give yourself permission to be free. Give yourself permission to check yourself. Give yourself permission to receive the truth. Give yourself permission to keep it real with yourself, okay? So until next time, guys, don't forget, subscribe to join the tribe so we can continue to take this journey together. If you know someone who needs to hear this daily reminder, be encouraged, get some fire under their butt, go on and share this video. Until next time, guys, I love you very much. And don't forget, live in purpose on purpose. Bye.